There's a moment in every relationship, romantic, family, friendship, even a coworker dispute, where things get heated. And in that exact moment, something happens that most people never notice. The mask comes off. Not because the person is trying to reveal themselves. It's the opposite. In conflict, we lose the bandwidth to perform. And what's left underneath is the truest data you will ever get about a person. Psychologists have actually spent decades studying this. Not just do people fight, but how they fight. The specific patterns, the timing, the words they reach for. And it turns out those patterns are so consistent, so predictable, that researchers can watch a single argument and forecast the future of a relationship with unsettling accuracy. The most famous version of this comes from psychologist John Gottman. In the 1990s, he built something people jokingly called the Love Lab, a small apartment wired with cameras where couples were asked to sit down and talk through a disagreement. Nothing staged, just real couples, real friction. Gottman and his team coded every micro-expression, every shift in tone, every physiological signal, down to heart rate and skin conductivity. What he found was that he could predict with over 90% accuracy whether a couple would eventually divorce, just by watching them argue for 15 minutes, not by what they were fighting about, almost never about the actual topic. It was about the shape of the fight. He identified 4 specific behaviors that showed up again and again in relationships heading toward collapse. He called them the 4 horsemen. The first is criticism, attacking someone's character instead of addressing the behavior. Not, I wish you'd texted me back, but you never think about anyone but yourself. One is a complaint. The other is a verdict on who a person is. The second horseman is contempt. This is the big one. Gottman has said if he had to pick a single predictor of divorce, it's this. Contempt is sarcasm, eye-rolling, mockery, the subtle sense of moral superiority. It says, I'm above you. And here's the part that surprises people. Contempt doesn't just damage the relationship. Studies have found that couples who show high contempt toward each other actually get sick more often. Their immune systems take a measurable hit. Disrespect at that level has a body count. The third is defensiveness. This is the reflex to protect yourself rather than hear the other person, meeting a concern with a counterattack instead of curiosity. You're upset I forgot the appointment? Well, you forgot my birthday last year. Nothing gets solved. 2 people just stand there holding their shields up. And the fourth is stonewalling, shutting down completely, going silent, turning away, refusing to engage at all. It looks like calm on the outside. Inside, Gottman's physiological data showed something different. People who stonewall are often in a state of extreme internal arousal, sometimes with heart rates spiking past 100 beats per minute. It's not peace. It's a nervous system in flight mode, dressed up as indifference. But here's where it gets more interesting than just bad habits to avoid. The way someone fights isn't really a choice they're making in the moment. It's a window into their attachment style. The blueprint for relationships that gets built in early childhood, largely before we can even remember it. This comes from attachment theory, first developed by psychologist John Bowlby and later expanded by Mary Ainsworth. The basic idea is that as infants, we learn a working model of what happens when we're distressed and reach out for help. Does the caregiver show up? Do they respond consistently? Are they overwhelmed themselves? Whatever pattern got wired in early tends to resurface decades later, almost unchanged, the moment an adult relationship hits real stress. Someone with an anxious attachment style, for instance, often fights to stay close. Their nervous system reads distance as danger. So during conflict, they may escalate, pursue, demand reassurance, even say things they don't mean, because on some level, silence feels more threatening than a fight. The goal isn't to win the argument. It's to make sure the other person doesn't leave. Someone with an avoidant attachment style tends to do the opposite. Conflict feels like too much closeness, too much intensity, and their instinct is to create space, which often looks exactly like Gottman's stonewalling. It's not that they don't care, it's that their system was built to associate emotional intensity with overwhelm, so shutting down feels like survival. And someone with a more secure attachment style, which research suggests is less about being naturally calm and more about having had consistent, responsive caregiving tends to fight differently altogether. They can stay present. They can say, "This is upsetting me," without needing to attack or disappear. Not because they're superior people, but because their nervous system never learned that conflict equals abandonment or engulfment. So when you watch how someone fights, do they pursue or do they withdraw? Do they attack the person or the problem? Do they stay in the room or leave it? You are watching an old pattern play out in real time. You're seeing a piece of their history, not just their personality. There's a broader piece of neuroscience underneath all of this, too. During real conflict, the brain's threat detection center, the amygdala, can hijack the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for reasoning, perspective taking, weighing consequences. Researchers sometimes call this flooding. Once someone is flooded, they are, quite literally, not accessing their most thoughtful self. That's why the same person who is warm and articulate on a normal day can suddenly sound cold, cruel, or completely irrational mid-argument. It's not a mask slipping to reveal something ugly. It's a nervous system in survival mode borrowing the mouth. This is also why so many relationship experts, including Gottman, emphasize something counterintuitive. The goal in conflict often isn't to resolve everything in the moment. It's to recognize flooding early enough to pause. 20 minutes is roughly how long it takes for a flooded nervous system to physiologically calm down and come back to the conversation once both people can actually think again. Gottman actually built a counterpoint to the Four Horsemen too, because he didn't want people walking away thinking every argument is a doomsday signal. He found that stable couples fight plenty. The difference wasn't the absence of conflict, it was what he called the repair attempt. A small joke in the middle of tension, a hand reaching for the other person's hand, someone saying, "Wait, can we start over?" Halfway through a bad exchange. In his data, the couples who lasted weren't the ones who never fought. They were the ones whose repair attempts actually landed, where one person offered an olive branch and the other one was willing to take it instead of staying armored up. That detail matters because it means the way someone fights isn't a fixed sentence. Attachment researchers describe this as earned security, the idea that people can shift from anxious or avoidant patterns toward more secure ones, often through a relationship with someone steady, through therapy, or simply through years of practicing a different response than the one that got wired in young. The nervous system that learned conflict meant abandonment can slowly learn otherwise. It just takes evidence, repeated enough times, to overwrite the old blueprint. So the next time you're in a disagreement or watching two people argue, pay attention to the pattern instead of the topic. Do they turn toward the problem or turn away from each other? Do they get louder to be heard or go quiet to disappear? Do they reach for a repair, or does pride keep both hands in their pockets? None of this makes someone a bad person, but it tells you more honestly than almost anything else could what they learned, long before you ever met them, about what happens when love gets hard. And if you recognize your own pattern in any of this, that's not a life sentence either. It's just the starting point for writing a different one. Don't forget subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications.